Hello and welcome to another What If, pretty much. In this one, Deku will have a few powers. Most notably, he will have immortality. Now, with that immortality also comes a bit of invincibility, meaning he's impervious to anything. The universe, all of time itself, all of reality, could completely be destroyed. He would still be there. Like, nothing can kill him. No punch, no blast, no nothing. Nothing can damage him at all. He doesn't even feel it. Like, he still feels stuff, but it's not like it actually hurts him. Another thing is that he's pretty much got like energy manipulation. So, think of, uh, hmm, trying to think. There's a few superheroes. So, he can make things out of energy. Like, think of Green Lanterns. They can make stuff out of their willpower, but for him, it's just out of energy, or pretty much like all out of matter. So matter makes up everything. He could take a random object and make it into something. He could he could shoot out laser beams from his hands or out of his eyes like Superman. Um, Another thing, because of how long he's been alive for and how many universes, and yeah, pretty much universes and stuff like that he's been through. Like, he's been through about, he's been alive for who knows how long. He's old enough that the first 100 years, he doesn't even remember it. All he knows is that the first 100 years, he thought he would die eventually, but after another 100, and then another, and then another, and then it came to be 1,000, then two, and then three, and then sooner or later it became 1,000,000, and two, and it just kept going and going. And people found out that, hey, he's immortal. But Deku didn't really like all the attention, and after all of his family members and all of his friends died, and all of his students and mentors and everything died, he just decided to live a secluded life. And so, for over 1,000,000 years, he had practiced to look inwards to pretty much unleash his full potential. And so that's how he was able to control matter and energy. And if you'd ever seen, I'm trying to think, I read this Darth Vader comic where Darth Vader went into this spiritual realm while he was on Mustafar, and he pretty much was in this astral projection form where his entire body was pretty much like red and black, except for his eyes and a few limbs. So all the limbs that were chopped off, they were pure white. His eyes were pure white. Everything else was just a mix of red and black on his body. Think of that for Deku, but instead of it being, red or black or anything, it's pure white. Because for him, nothing matters. So it's a blank canvas. Pretty much like a piece of paper. You could write stuff on it, but sooner or later, after a while of rubbing it out, it's just gone or it blends in. So you could put a scratch on him. It'd instantly heal. Although nothing's ever actually done that to him other than himself. So, yeah. After a few million years, his body became a pure construct of light. Being a pure white being made people, after a few million years, believe him to be a god, with his ability to control matter, energy, and because he was invincible and immortal, People thought he was God. You know what? I might also add that he can fly. Why not? So he's got matter manipulation, energy manipulation. He's immortal, indestructible, and can fly. That sounds kind of broken to me, but you know, I'm making this guy pretty much a living god, so why not? Now, it came to the point where he was he was so old that even the history books that were written about him were gone. The cultures that worshipped him were legends. The people that said they were his prophets had been long gone millions of years ago. It came to the point where Deku just didn't really care and wanted to do whatever he wanted because he had pretty much done nothing for a long time. So, because he's able to control matter, energy, and you know has pretty much reached nirvana, an aspect of life where you know you've reached, I think, peak. What's it called? Peak spirituality, I believe. So he's pretty much a literal god. He makes himself look like his, I believe, 12 or 14-year-old self, and goes to UA. Now the reason he's able to is because, well, in the entrance exam, he completely wipes out all robots in an instant. Now, you might be saying, well, if it's been millions of years, shouldn't, you know, all of the classmates he would have had been dead? Here's the thing. He's lived so long that the Earth he's on now is about the 5th Earth he's been on. So, all the other Earths, they've been different. They've had different life forms. People kind of look different in how, you know, they looked, but not that different because, you know, it's still Earth. It's still the same climate and atmosphere somehow. So for Deku, this was all just another walkthrough. So he destroys all the robots with ease, either blasting them with energy or just incinerating them with just like pulling apart their pieces or making them into dust because he's able to manipulate matter. So he made the metal into liquid or into dust, or he made it into stone, or he just made it into air, something so that it was destroyed. Now the teachers are seeing this and they're wondering what his quirk is, and while they're looking for the papers, All Might sees and says, "My God, this child would be able to defeat All For One in an instant. I must meet with him immediately." So the teachers can't find his paperwork other than, you know, his application saying that he's a Zug Midoriya, he's around 14 to 15 years old, and he has an unknown quirk. Now, they don't see anything about a parent or guardian, so they just think that he's an orphan. Now they try and find where he lives, but they can't find that. So, you know, after all this is done, he's racked up the highest amount of points. Like, even second place is not nearly half the amount that he has somehow. So yeah, he's not just first place, he's the best. So after that, he meets with the teachers and All Might. They ask him what his quirk is and where are his parents. He gives them a full backstory, all that he can remember. He's able to remember the first, like, a bit about the first part of his life, but everything else is pretty much just random stuff. Like, because of how weird it was, he really didn't remember it. So they know that he is over quadrillions of years old, and that he's got a wide range of powers that, you know, transcends any person. So they say, hey, we'll teach you how to use your powers. And he's like, I know that, I'm pretty old. I know that I seem like a kid, but I've told you how old I am. That's given me a long time to hone my abilities. So how about this? Instead of me being a student, I could be a teacher, maybe a history teacher or something like that. So yeah, I'm changing his career right now. Why not? So they say, sure. How are you going to change your appearance? He's like, well, it's not like I've been a kid. Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry about that. He says, it's not like I've been a kid for my entire life. I reached nirvana, or pretty much that aspect where you're God and you've reached almost an energy-like state, so I just changed how I look. So I could make myself look like an older version of me or something like that. And they ask, is it okay if you just, make yourself look completely different, like put on a helmet and stuff, so that people can't recognize you at all? He says, yeah, sure. So he goes back to his pure white form. He puts on a suit and tie, and he goes to his first day of work at UA, being a history teacher. So because, he's lived for a while on this earth, he knows all the history. He's given them all the evidence and stuff. He's even given the government that stuff. So they know it's the truth. It hasn't even been a minute. I'm already yawning again. Or has it? Yeah, whatever. So they know that all the history he's going to be talking about is true. And so they allow him to talk about it. Now, what would have been Class 1A are his students. So Bakugo, Todoroki, Mina, Ochako, Danki, Neta, Tsuyu, and the rest of them. Now, without Deku in Bakugo's life, he lived a fairly normal life. People idolized him for his quirk. Jesus. I'm sorry. I don't know why I keep yawning. So people idolized Bakugo and stuff for his quirk. And without Deku there, he never felt like he was less of a person. So he doesn't really have a short temper because people liked him. He's like, hey, if I'm nice to people and I lead them, they'll like me. If I lead. Okay, yeah, lead. Sorry. So yeah. So instead of Aizawa taking them to the USJ, whatever it was called, it's Deku. Now, Aizawa is with them, kind of like how that black hole girl was there. He's with them as a chaperone because, they still want somebody to make sure that Deku doesn't just slip up because he feels like it. They don't know if they could cancel out his quirk, but it's just to make sure. So the villains come in, all because All For One sensed a great amount of power recently, because Deku had used a good amount of power to transform himself into his white form. And so he tracked them to the USJ, where he sent pretty much every villain he could get his hands on. Now Deku sees this, and he asks the kid to step back, and he asks the hero, Aizawa if he could take care of them. Now Aizawa knows what this means, because Deku has no respect for life anymore. He knows that they'll all die eventually, so why not earlier? I mean, these are all villains. Why give them a chance? They've already made their decision. So although Aizawa doesn't like it, it's not like he could really do anything. So they all sit back and watch. And Deku completely massacres them. Some of them he turns into dust, other ones he vaporizes, some of them he impales. And then the ones that aren't that fortunate have their limbs torn piece by piece off, starting with their fingers, and then their limbs, and it finally gets to the point where he's just stripping them of their flesh, meat, and bones, and organs. And the only reason they're not dead is because Deku is keeping them alive. Because with his energy and matter manipulation and his nirvana state, pretty much I'm just going to call it his godlike state, he's able to keep them alive and allow them to feel all the pain they've brought to others. And then he kills them. So all of them are dead, and the only, I believe, two or three that are left are the Nomu, Shigaraki, and that shadow guy. Forget his name. But yeah. Now he doesn't want them escaping, so he first kills the shadow guy. Now he believes that the shadow guy is all, gas, so he turns him into, let's say instead of gas, he's now ash. So because he feels that there's a gas area and an actual human part, he turns the gas into the ash, and then that just leaves the person that was turned into that guy. Now, if you haven't watched the newer episodes or even read the manga, skip ahead, because this guy's not really going to last that long. So he turns the gas into ash, and then he turns the guy that was turned into that guy into dust as well. Aizawa didn't get a good look because of how quick Deku did that, but he did see blue hair, and in a type of style that only one person could have pulled off. But, he's dead now. So Deku kills Shigaraki, and then he kills the Nomu. And then, because he wants to continue his little life, he allows All For One to live, even though he knows where All For One is. All For One saw this and is scared. Someone with enough power to completely vaporize people and turn them and change their molecular structure in an instant. I mean, you'd be pretty horrified too. Imagine you're just standing there, then the person next to you just starts screaming in agony as you see their limbs ripped apart or just disappear. And then the person next on your other side, they just turn into dust. all you see are their clothes falling down. Then there's just another person right in front of you who's been stabbed, who's been impaled from the bottom up with a spear that seemed like it came out of nowhere. But you see that it's connected to the train. It's going from the bottom to the top, like one of the poles that you grab onto. You don't know who did it, but you're scared. Because somebody has enough power and enough control that they're able to do this to all three of these people. You don't even know who did it. It doesn't seem like anybody on the train has, because all of them are just scared, almost thinking the same thing as you. That's almost the same thing that All For One's feeling. He's feeling scared, because someone stronger than All Might is in this world. Someone stronger than someone he thinks that's even stronger than God. He wants to meet this person, try and talk it over. But it's just a setup that Deku would do for him to kill him without actually having to do anything other than just do a little planning. He tells this idea to the heroes. All Might's on board with it. Everybody else, not so much, because you'll be bringing one of the most deadly and powerful villains in all the world right in front of somebody strong enough to wipe out entire worlds. Yeah, I'm giving them that power. You know the power that Zeno and forget the guy's name, that cat dude from Dragon Ball. Their ability to just completely wipe out galaxies and planets. Deku's got that. It comes with his godlike abilities. With his godlike ability, he's just got everything. So yeah, this what if actually we'll be going through like different realities, and not really different realities, different times, like Deku in the medieval time, Deku in the future, pretty much in the present type of era. Deku as a president, a student, a kid, a son, daughter, father, mother, businessman, a villain, a hero, God idolized by the people, anything. You could even just come up with an idea of what that could be, and I could just put it in a certain time, or you could even give me the time, like, oh, after this world, it's the next one, or it was the one before this, and stuff, whatever. So yeah, let's continue. Now, the heroes don't want this to happen, because they still think that Deku's ability is this quirk. And Deku assures them that by now, his ability isn't even a quirk. He's not even somebody who's got a quirk, he's just a god. The original quirk he had was immortality. But over time, it became invincibility, and then matter manipulation, and all this other stuff. So all that All For One's gonna have is immortality. Now, he's not gonna live forever, actually, because if you're able to kill him, he'll just be in a pretty much isolated state where he can only observe and hear and see. Pretty much that is observing. But even then, it's not really like he could do anything. You could even destroy him enough that he thinks that he's dead. With his godlike ability, even if he has invincibility, he knows he still might be able to kill him. So yeah, they arrange a meeting, they meet up, all for one. Legitimately, no joke, not even as a metaphor. Is scared so much that you can hear shivers, like somebody is freezing. Now, all for one sits down and asks to team up with Deku. He says that he could give him however many people he wants to kill. Deku just says, "You really think I want that? I've killed billions, trillions even. And the amount of lives I've lived throughout the times, I've had people sacrifice to me. I've had people kill people that sacrifice to me. I've killed people that worship. I've had people kill the people that worship me. I've killed the people that worship me. I just kill in general. I have given life a good amount. I've created entire galaxies, universes even. Most of this world actually, this reality, where the year Big Bang happened, I made it happen. Why not? I was, after my reality was destroyed, after I reached the peak, the pinnacle of almost godlike power, I could do whatever I wanted. Nobody could stop me. Who could? The god of my world, of my reality, was not dead, isn't gone or anything. He's just asleep. He found everything too boring, so now he's just in his dreams, in his own reality, where, life seems more interesting, everything's more controlled. With free will comes branches and things. You might think somebody takes this, but take that, and all this stuff. That's what happens with humans. But yeah, right then and there, the heroes, the villains, everybody in the world realized that something wanted them dead, but they wanted to have fun first. So, for the next few weeks, months, years, Deku became a hero. He defeated All for One, defeated every villain in the world. Any villain that stepped up to the mantle of being the best villain, they would disappear within a minute. So yeah, that's part one. What if Deku was immortal? So yeah, if you have any suggestions about what Deku should be next, his life, or any suggestions for another what if, I'm open. But I might not make another one for like another week, because school and me being a procrastinator and stuff like that. So yeah, all you have a good night.